at that. Look at that. We beat Manchester City 4-2. I was not expecting to bring you that news. I certainly was not, but I'm very glad I have. Yes, welcome on in here to the One Season Challenge with Sheffield United here on 11am Sports. If you missed the last episode, go and have a look at it. We started off our season with a game up against Everton, and you can see the result in front of you. It kind of spoils it slightly, but we drew against them. We'll talk about the transfers in that episode that we done. Spoiler, there wasn't really any, but go and have a look at it anyway and see how we are lining up for this series with Sheffield United. I'm still in a little bit of shock, to be honest. I say the last episode we drew 1-1 with Everton in the Premiership. The Premier, I nearly said Scottish Premiership. That's not right. That's not the series we're doing now. In the Premier League in England, 1-1 draw with Everton. We then played a game in the Carabao Cup second round where we beat Huddersfield fairly comfortably, 3-0. And then we played against Man City in what was a ridiculous game. And you know what? I'm going to show you the highlights of this. So the game starts off very early on. Here's Zinchenko on the left-hand side, just 3 minutes in, into Gabriel Jesus. And early on, we're down 1-0. And I'm thinking this could be a cricket score. But Sharp plays the ball into Norwood, and Lundstrom gets through the middle of the Man City defence and tucks it away. And he scored 2 goals in 2 games for us. I thought he was going to be a top scorer. Norwood gets the ball, though. Here, at the start of the second half, Stevens through to Brewster. And we're up 2-1 just after half-time. And that was quickly followed 10 minutes later by a nice piece of play from Man City. Sterling through, and it's 2-2. And I thought, you know what? Hold on for a 2-2 draw. We had different ideas though. Yao Cancelo throws it straight to Brewster, who intercepts. Ryan Brewster runs, dinks it round the keeper. Shoots round the keeper. And we're up 3-2. And then down this left-hand side again, Stevens plays the ball into Brewster. Laporte tackles. The ball ends up back with Billy Sharp, who hits it. And it bounces off the back of Ederson and into the goal. And we won 4-2. Now, if you look at the ratings, most of them were not very good. Ramsdale's was particularly good because he had to do a lot of saves in this game. 21 shots to 6. They were expected goals. 3.48 as 1.1. But you know what the important stat is? The number of goals. 4 goals for us, 2 for Man City. We won 4-2. Not expected to win that game. I certainly did not. But we did 4-2. And that could be one of my greatest achievements ever as a manager of Football Manager. And we're only, a couple of episodes into this series. That very high was then met by an almost very low as we played Wickham in the Carabao Cup third round after that. We drew 1-1 because Phil Jagielka scored a penalty. They got an equaliser late on in the game. It went to penalties and we won in a penalty shootout. So we get past Man City comfortably and then we scrape by Wickham. Very unusual indeed, but it does mean that at the start of our season, we've only played 4 games, but we are unbeaten. And as you can see, the Carabao Cup fourth round fits in between the 2 games I was going to show you. So this episode is going to be fairly long. It's going to have Arsenal, West Brom in the Carabao Cup, Aston Villa in the Premier League, as well as the possibility of any transfers that are coming in. No transfers have been agreed as of yet. I had an offer accepted from Arsenal for El Nene as a backup central midfield option. Not for a transfer, just for a loan in. But unfortunately, he ended up going to Sevilla and said, imagine going to Sevilla instead of Sheffield United. Who would have thought that perhaps Sevilla were slightly better than us? That would appear to be the case, though. So we haven't got that in. There's no other ones that have happened yet. We'll see. There's a few possibly in the pipeline, so we'll see what happens with that. But first of all, we'll play Arsenal today and then give you updates of the West Brom and Aston Villa game before we reach transfer deadline day. I think I'm as well just showing off the Premier League table. We're currently in the top half. 4 points, a positive goal difference. We're ahead of teams like Tottenham and Everton and Leicester. Man City have gone above us again because they've won their other game. We're playing on the Sunday here, whereas Man City played on the Saturday and beat Crystal Palace in their other game. So the only game they've lost was against us. So should we say that we are the best team in the league if we're beating the team who did actually win the league this year in real life? Is it maybe too early to say? We do unfortunately have an injury to Jack O'Connell at the back, so it does mean that Ethan Ampadu deputises for him in the centre of defence. So the team we're going to go with for today's game looks a bit like this. Ramsdale in goal, Ampadu in front of him with Basham and Egan either side. Baldock and Stevens as wing-backs. Norwood is our deep-line playmaker with Lundstrom and Berg next to him. And Brewster alongside Sharp up front. You can see Lundstrom's got 2 goals. Brewster scored 2 up against Man City as well. Maybe the goals are going to come from the midfield though, because Lundstrom scored in 2 different games. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to this one against Arsenal. Again, I'm not expecting the win, but you never know. Maybe we just beat the good teams because we beat Man City. So the teams step out. Arsenal wearing their red, us in our red and white stripes. And 10 minutes into this game, there's not been a shot yet. Well, that's been a very quiet first half. No, not a single highlight, and only 3 shots for Arsenal, 1 for us. It's been very quiet indeed. You know what? We would take a 0-0 draw where nothing happens, I suppose, against Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, we like to win it, but if we can keep them quiet, I'm more than happy with that. Well, we're 70 minutes in, there's still not been a highlight in the game. I could only apologise. If I'd known this was going to be the case, I'd have shown you the Man City game, which is very exciting indeed. John Lundstrom's got himself a yellow card, so we'll bring on John Fleck for him. Just confirm that sub. 15 minutes to go. Again, not much has happened in this. There's been lots of goals in other games around the grounds, but not so much here. Norwood with a free kick in toward Brewster. It is headed away, and Martin Odegaard comes away with the ball now. And this is the first highlight of the game, and it's going to be the first chance on goal. Armstrong has scored a goal. Adam Armstrong, who Arsenal just signed from Blackburn. It was actually somebody who I was considering buying, but we didn't have £10 million to pay for him. And he scored a goal against us, unfortunately. Odegaard breaks away. Stevens challenges him, fouls him, to be honest. Armstrong picks up the ball, shoots across Ramsdale, and scores a goal. And there's 10 minutes to go. We're going to go attacking. Why not? The last 10 minutes. See if we can get ourselves a goal. I don't imagine we will, but we'll see what happens. There's 4 minutes added time, and the ball is cleared away by us there. Xhaka gets the ball to Armstrong, the centre forward for Arsenal. Odegaard through toward Aubameyang, and Aubameyang scores. Well, I suppose we aren't maybe the best team in the league. We lost 2-0 to Arsenal here. 2 late goals. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best defensive display there at the end. But we tried to push on to try and get ourselves a goal, but we gave away another one. You know what? That was a very, very boring game. And I'm actually fairly happy that we have the Carabao Cup to show you as well. Because otherwise, this game had not a lot of highlights to show you alongside the Sheffield United one. We are Sheffield United alongside the Aston Villa one, so I'm glad we've got 3 games to show you. So that defeat leaves us firmly mid-table, which we will accept at this stage, especially when you think our first games of the season were Everton, Man City and Arsenal. The fact we have 4 points, I think, is above everyone's expectation. So I'll keep you updated with any transfer goings-ons that happens in the next 3 days, but if nothing happens, we'll see you for the West Brom game and the Carabao Cup. Well, here we go, some transfer news. We're going to bring in Callum Chambers, the centre and right back for Arsenal, in on loan. He's currently out for around 11 days with damaged cruciate ligaments. Always good. But he's coming in on loan. We're paying £150,000 a month, it looks like. Again, we don't really have a lot of money to be spending on transfer, so I was looking at the loan market, and this is one player who I was fairly interested in. You can see he can play at full-back. He can also play wing-back if he has to, but also play in the centre-back position. Maybe not as a starter, but certainly he'll be able to cover, and he can also play as a defensive midfielder should we drop to a defensive midfielder. We do have a formation where we play, instead of flat 3, we have one where we play an attacking mid, and we have one where we play a defensive mid, so he might fill in for that. But certainly as an option at the back, because I noticed when we had the injury to O'Connell, as we do, we don't really have a huge amount of depth at centre back once we've lost him, and it's just Ampadu because we had Phil Jagielka on the bench for the last game. So Chambers will give us some depth in that position. And he can get his number 21. I'm sure that's the one he's got at Arsenal, so he'll be right at home wearing that. Right, so here we are, ready for the game against West Brom in the Carabao Cup, and it's going to be the exact same team as the last time. Ramsdale and goal with Ampadu in front of him, Basham and Egan either side, Baldock and Stevens at wing back, Norwood with Lundstrom and Berg in midfield, and Brewster and Sharp up front. Hopefully a slightly better performance than the one up against Arsenal. So West Brom are in their kind of blue and white stripy things, and they've scored an early goal with Jake Livermore, the first highlight and the first shot of the game. We are playing in green. That was not good at all. Pereira swings it in. No one was marking Livermore at the front post, and we're down 1-0 early on. Not an ideal start to the game. Stevens with the corner kick. It's swung and it's headed away by Livermore. Only as far as Stevens though. Back to Egan on the edge of the box. Lundstrom with it now. Through to Sharp, and Billy Sharp finishes, but the flag is waved for offside. It looks like the guy down the bottom right hand side, just probably behind my head, you probably can't see it, waved his flag, and it looks like it's going to be offside. Indeed it is. Damn you, assistant referee. Unfortunately, he was correct. Billy Sharp was just offside there, but it was a good finish from the striker. But unfortunately, he was in an offside position. It looks, West Brom have had their one goal from their only shot the whole game. We've totally dominated the rest of it, which is very disappointing indeed. Ball thrown in by Stevens. Lundstrom loses it, but gets the ball back. Berg with it, finds Norwood, who comes with the ball to the right-hand side. Baldock plays the ball back into Berg, and Berg comes forward, now finds Baldock, back to Norwood as an acres of space. Plays it all the way back to Basham, finds Lundstrom and Berg and Sharp and Lundstrom. A nice pass and play here, but it goes back to the defence again. Egan joins the attack, finds Lundstrom, back to Egan, finds Norwood. Well, he switched this play, finds Berg. Will Berg play the ball through? He does, finds Baldock on this right-hand side, goes into the box, back to Berg, who hits in, it's off the frame of a goal. What a lovely piece of play we had there. Nice pass in football, but unfortunately did not result in a goal. And we've reached half time and the score is still 1-0 to West Brom, even though we've totally dominated this game. We'll see if we can improve in the second half. If not, we'll make a few changes, but another early highlight and a half for West Brom. Pereira with it on the right hand side, gets the byline, swings it in. Oh, that's an absolute calamity at the back. What on earth has happened there? Pereira throws the ball into Livermore. No one marks Pereira when the ball comes back to him. He gets to the byline. He crosses the ball in. And Ampadu kicks it off his teammate. And it falls to Robinson at the back post. And West Brom are up 2-0. Probably undeservedly. So we've changed an attacking mentality. See what happens. The answer appears to be not much at the moment. And we're going to make a few changes. Lundstrom's going to come off. We'll bring on John Fleck for him. And up front, Ryan Brewster's not really done a lot, so we'll bring on Ollie McBurney and see what happens here. Livermore, though, for West Brom has the ball. It's intercepted by Stevens, flicked on to Brewster, who heads it on to absolutely nobody. And Ajayi plays the ball back to Button in the goal, and the ball is switched over, and Robinson comes away with it, and he breaks in the left-hand side there. A good challenge by Baldock. And it looks like we're just about to go and hold on to possession here. Ramsdale with it over to Egan. And can we progress up this left-hand side? Egan drives forward, finds Stevens, who plays the ball through to Brewster. Can he finish? No, he can't. It's an easy save for Button. And that's why Brewster will be coming off. And Ender Stevens has got himself an injury. Thankfully, we've still got one sub left, so we'll bring on Keane Bryan for him. But a fairly poor result for us here. The performance appears to have been alright, just could not finish our dinner and gave away too many silly mistakes at the back. And West Brom come away with a win. That's a disappointing defeat. Thankfully, it's just in the Carabao Cup and not in the league. A competition, I suppose, we weren't really expected to win anyway. We were not expected to win the league either, but we want to try and get top half in that. But the fact that we don't have to worry about any more Carabao Cup fixtures suits me perfectly fine. And Stevens is out for about a fortnight with pulled ankle ligaments, so we should be okay for that. We'll lose him for the game against Aston Villa, but then he'll be back after the international break. The Aston Villa match is here in 3 days' time. Again, we'll keep you updated with any transfer goings on should anything happen. I tell you what, this is awfully hard. We don't have a huge amount of transfer budget to do any wheelings and dealings in the transfer market, and so far we haven't done any more, I'm afraid. Sorry. I imagine this episode might not be called Transfer Special, because I don't imagine there's that much special about any of these transfers that are getting made. But we are ready here for the game against Aston Villa. Villa have not won a game yet this season, so hopefully that form continues and they don't win the one up against us. So we've got a little change to the team for today. One of the changes is forced because of our injury to Stevens at left back. And another one just to change some players up front to see if maybe they can score some goals for us, as that's been kind of missing the last two games. Ramsdale in goal with Ampadu in front of him, Basham and Egan either side, Baldock and Bryan as the wing backs today, Norwood with Lundstrom and Berg in midfield, and McBurney will partner Musse up front. Hopefully they can get themselves goals, because they are both strikers and both of them have not scored a goal, so that's not very good for strikers. First highlight of the game here, about half an hour in. Target switched the ball toward Traore. It's a very good ball, and Watkins tucks it in. That's such a simple goal to concede. We really shouldn't be doing it. But unfortunately, we are. Ball just, as I say, switched over. Target, long ball over to the other side. Traore gets in behind Brian, who's obviously the backup left wing back. And Watkins gets ahead of Ampadu. Ramsdale rushes out to it. Poor defending. And we're 1-0 down, but Norwood swings in a free kick. McBurney heads it. Basham heads it. I thought it was McBurney. It was Basham and McBurney both went up for the ball, but Basham got it. And we have responded within a couple of minutes with a goal of our own here. And it's 1-0. Norwood swings it in. See, McBurney rises, but Basham gets there instead of him, it looks like. And 1-0 after half an hour. So that was our first shot of the game. I don't know what to say, because we have not been good so far, it would appear. Because the only two highlights we've seen have been goals. Grealish swings in the corner and Mings only makes it 3 goals from 3 highlights. But we just about stick on. You see the expected goals, 0.06. Not a lot for us. Norwood with a corner swings it and then Musse scores a goal. Somehow we're ahead. 2 shots, 2 goals, and we're winning 2-1. Maybe we are just that efficient. Norwood with a lovely ball in. It's headed by Musse past the goalkeeper, Emiliano Martinez, and we're up 2-1 after 35 minutes here. Maybe we just play better than the stats suggest. Brian with it finds Norwood. We've got the play from that throw on the right hand side. Berg comes back to collect it. He'll find Musse. He does. Back to Berg and Norwood, and we'll play the ball through to Musse. And can he score? No, he hits off the post. That was easier than the header he scored. And somehow he's missed it. It's gone out for a corner kick. We did score from one of these earlier though, remember. Norwood swings it in toward the back post. It's over McBurney's head, who runs out to get it. And I imagine that will be the end of the highlight, but Berg's got it now. McBurney, Norwood, through toward Musse. Can he score? He can. It's not the end of the highlight. We've scored. Musse scored his second of the game. 4 shots, and we've scored 3 goals. We probably should have scored with the other shot we had as well, but it went out for a corner kick after it hit off the post. But I love the ball. McBurney, Norwood threads the ball through. Musse gets in behind the defence and gets there before Emiliano Martinez's outstretched arms, and we're up 3-1 somehow in this first half. After a horrendous start to the game, somehow we are winning this game 3-1. Maybe Sheffield United should have just made me the manager, because obviously something I'm doing is making them get goals even though they're not playing well. I've said to the boys at half time, I'm pleased with how things are going. Keep it up, because, well, that's the truth. I'm very pleased with how things are going. And I do want them to keep it up. I would like to win this game. But there is a highlight here, and it's going to be Aston Villa's throw. Target throws it in. Norwood clears it away. Douglas Luiz collects it. Finds Target. Down this left-hand side. Back to McGinn. Over to Barkley. Hits it for a long way out. And what a goal. What is it with us? Playing in games where midfielders score outstanding goals. Remember, Lundstram scored a great one for us in the game against Everton, and so did Alan. And now Ross Barkley scored an absolutely outstanding goal here. McGinn into Barkley, just gets away from Lundstram, and it's right in the top corner off his weaker foot. Good finish. And it's 3-2. Made some changes. We've brought on Fleck into the midfield. We've pushed Ampadu up into the midfield as well and brought Jagielka on at the back. And we've also brought Bogle on at right back. But McBurney's got through here, and that's why I wanted to sell him. He's not very good. He was 1-on-1 with the keeper there. And yeah, did not do particularly well with that. Yeah, we brought on Bogle to replace Baldock on the right-hand side because he's very tired. A lot of the midfielders are very tired as well. They have to work very, very hard in this formation, both the wing-backs and the 3 centre midfielders, and that's why they often get very tired in the game. But Ampadu's found Bogle here. He's driven forward. He's through. He's by the defence. Can he score? He can! Jayden Bogle with his first ever goal for the club. We're up 4-2. I was not expecting our right wing back to be doing that, but there we go. Ampadu has moved from centre back up into centre midfield, finds Bogle, he runs inside Target, runs right past whoever's that is at the back, and scores. I have no words. Outstanding. What a goal from the young man. And we appear to have won this game 4-2. We have indeed. We ended up dominating the game in terms of possession, and we had more shots. Expected goals, we just about got ahead as well. Certainly nowhere near 4, but slightly ahead of Aston Villa. Musse with 2, Bogle with 1, and Basham with 1. A 4-2 victory. As I said, Aston Villa hadn't won a game yet this season. Hopefully that continues, and indeed it did. And we win this game 4-2. What a performance in the end. And that puts us up in the dizzying heights of 6th position at the moment. I know you can't really look too much at the league table this early on. We've only played 4 league games, but I tell you what, we're doing not bad, are we? 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. And when you saw the start of the season included Man City, Arsenal, and Everton, You wouldn't have imagined we'd had 7 points, but we do indeed. And I tell you what, I'm pretty proud of the boys. A good performance from them so far this season. So we've got a couple of days until the transfer window finishes. We'll continue on through the game. I'll update you on any ins and outs we may have. I don't imagine it's going to be very active, but we'll see what happens. I say we'll let you know anything that happens. And if nothing happens, then I'll get you on transfer deadline day and tell you nothing's happened, and that's the end of the episode. Well, our first signing of this episode, is that right? No, we've already signed Callum Chambers in this episode. Our second signing of this episode is another defensive-minded player. It's Timothy Fosu-Mensah. Some of you might remember him. He was at Manchester United for quite a long time. He only had a handful of appearances. He was at Fulham a couple of years ago, and Crystal Palace the year before that. He did transfer to Bayer Leverkusen for £1.8 million, and we have loaned him in as a kind of backup option across the defence. And we don't play at full back, but as a backup centre back, but also as an option in midfield as well. We can cover both positions, which could prove to be quite invaluable, especially as a squad player. Not the best, but we've got him in on loan, so that's all we can ask for. Not having to buy him, got him in on loan as backup, suits us just fine. And these appear to be just like buses that are transfer you wait on, one for ages and two come at once. We also got Fete Arp. He's on loan from Bayern Munich. They signed him from Hamburg a few seasons ago for £2.7 million. Say we've signed him in on loan as a backup option up front. He's only a 2.5-star player just now, but he could develop into a very, very good player. So we'll hopefully help him develop here. He's finishing, he's 16, and that's what really attracted me to him. A good finisher is someone we could do with. He can play as that advanced forward or as that pressing forward. That's the two that we play up front. I'm very much looking forward to using him. See how he does. The reason we've got Arp in is because Ollie McBurney has had a few transfer offers for him, and we might be accepting it, so we're looking for some cover should McBurney go. McBurney is worth 19 million, and he was being offered offers of 8.5 million from Brighton, so we rejected it, and then he took a huff that we rejected an offer, so we told him we want £20 million for him because that's what he's worth, and he was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So if someone offers £20 million, they can have Ollie McBurney. Well, Newcastle have made a loan approach for McBurney, which is being swiftly rejected. If we're going to let McBurney go to a rival in the division, then we want it to be for a significant amount of money, and getting him out on a loan is not going to be that, I'm afraid. The window does close at 11 o'clock, which is in just 4.5 hours' time, and as you can see, we're battering on through, and it appears that we're not going to be selling McBurney. Half an hour to go. No more offers being made, which means McBurney stays at the club. And yeah, a fairly quiet window. We've brought in 3 players into the team, all in on loan. Callum Chambers we've brought in as cover at the back. We've also brought in Timothy Fosu-Mensah doing the same thing. He can play in centre mid as well if need be. And we've brought Fete Arp in up front as well. Fete Arp? Someone in the comments will need to tell me how to pronounce his name properly as a backup striking option. All in on loan just to add a little bit more depth into this squad. So a fairly boring window, unfortunately, but Sheffield United did spend a lot of money on Ryan Brewster, which is why we didn't really have any money to spend there. You can see the league table after our 4 games, so we are in 8th. If we finish there, I would say that's a very successful one-season challenge. I'm not sure about you guys, but I think that would be very successful indeed. Looking at the schedule, I think I'll come back for a couple of games which are going to be teams right around about where we're expected to, or where we want to finish, I should say. We are currently, if you look in the Premier Division, we're in 8th. And West Ham and Leeds are in 9th and 7th. So West Ham and Leeds back to back there sounds like a good spot to come back to give us an update. There's not going to be quite as long gaps between these episodes as you imagined in previous series. I'm looking for this to be kind of, between 10 and 15 episodes long, something like that. So I'm trying to keep you fairly updated with all what's going on. I want you to come along with the journey, come along on the journey with me. So that's why we're kind of having maybe a handful of games in between, as opposed to a couple of months in between each episode. So this is, to be fair, still going to be the best part of a month and a half. There's going to be 2 international windows in between, but we're going to have played Fulham, Leicester, Crystal Palace, and Newcastle in between, and we'll hope to have had at least 6 points out of those games would be good. 3 of them are away from home against Fulham, Leicester, and Crystal Palace, so it could be slightly tricky possibly, but We'll see how we got on, and we'll see you back for the games up against West Ham and Leeds. And if you have enjoyed this episode, it was a bit of a bumper episode. It was quite long, 3 games in it, as well as all the transfer news. Then please do leave a like on the video. It really does help me out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join in for this series. Come on, we've got lots more coming to the channel, including more very interesting stuff from this one season challenge series. And until the next one, we'll see you then.